Hey everybody, happy Monday. Hope you're having a marvelous day. Um so before I get into the last Dave Ramsey video you watched and hitting some of the highlights of that, I wanted to talk about what we're seeing in our world right now and what's going on. Um, First of all, a little bit of a scandal in the financial worlds and the corporate worlds. So the stimulus package that was uh, passed money for a payment protection program that was supposed to go to small businesses to help them meet their payroll. And the idea of the plan was it was written out as a loan, but as long as companies kept their um, employment the same, they didn't lay anybody off and things like that, then the loan would be forgiven. And again, this was supposed to be for small businesses to help them survive through this pandemic. Unfortunately, what actually happened was there's four giant banks in the United States. Wells Fargo is one of them. MBNA is another one. And then there's some other regional monster banks. But those giant banks got together with their big corporate customers and put all of the majority of the loan money into big corporations because the banks got a larger profit that way, and they got to keep their biggest customers happy. And then the money ran out. So the small businesses who actually needed the money and to keep our economy afloat did not get the money. So now they've passed a second stimulus package and tried to circumvent the giant monster mega banks and get it into smaller local banks that will actually get it into the hands of the small businesses that need it. There are some lawsuits out there and things like that, but it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Shake Shack, I think it was Shake Shack, something like that. Steak Shacks, something, a big corporation actually returned the $10 million that they got after some pressure. And there's some petitions out against some other corporations that took a lot of money that didn't need it and stole it from the small businesses that did need it. There's some pressure out there for those corporations to return that money. So we'll see what happens. But it's hard to keep our economy afloat when the giant corporations are behaving poorly. And in the long run, they're only going to hurt themselves, because if the economy crashes, they're going to hurt too, because everyone will hurt. So we'll see what happens there. The other statistics that I have seen lately, 5.9% of Americans that have a mortgage did not make their last mortgage payment. So almost 6%. That's a fairly high number. It had been down around 4%, jumped up to 6% now. So hopefully those people will be able to get the ship righted again so they can make their mortgage payment and they don't lose their house. People that rent, would you believe that 33% did not pay their rent in this last reporting cycle? It's pretty high. But it's not surprising that renters are not paying far more than homeowners, because homeowners, they have some skin in the game. This is a house that they have equity in, that they have put time and effort into. They're more attached to it, and they will lose far more if they get foreclosed on. Renters, to them, it's not that big of a deal. If they get kicked out, they just find another place to rent. So they're not out as much, which makes times like this difficult on landlords, and especially now that they've been told that they can't evict people. That will make things very difficult for landlords, especially people who are landlords on like single family homes, because more than likely they have a mortgage on the home that they're renting out, and if they're not getting paid by their renter and they can't boot them out and get someone else in that will pay, it could cause some significant issues for those landlords. So hopefully we won't see what we saw back in the 2000s, when the housing market busted and home values crashed because there were so many foreclosures on the market, but it's very possible. So something to keep an eye on. The other thing that is happening right now, people are not buying cars. And not only are they not buying cars, but people are not traveling, so they aren't renting cars. So these rental companies have a huge fleet of cars that are not getting used, and they're returning them to the corporations that they lease them from. So now there is a flood of used cars on the market, and the used car price has dropped 13% from this time last year. So if you are a car dealer, not a great thing. If you're a car buyer, might not be a bad time to start looking for a used car, because prices are cheap right now. The prices are falling. The supply of used cars is growing dramatically, and when supply goes up, prices go down. So we've already seen a 13% drop in used car prices. I would not be surprised if that continues to fall. So economically, pay attention to what's happening around you. Hopefully you are seeing the benefits of this class and seeing what it means to be debt-free and not have payments, and are getting some good information that way. So pay attention. Watch what's happening economically. Watch what's happening to people with their personal finances, and how they are managing through this difficult time. Now, jumping back to the video you watched last Friday, the negotiating ploys. First, he talked about silence is golden. That works better when we're in the classroom and people start to get nervous. People don't like it when you don't talk, and so they start talking more. And oftentimes, when they start talking more because they're nervous, they will actually negotiate themselves down. So sometimes just shutting up is a great ploy, and a great way to get someone else a little uncomfortable. You don't want to be rude, but getting to the point where they are a little uncomfortable might benefit you in your negotiations. Also, using the phrase, "that's not good enough." Oftentimes, just simply saying, "Yeah, I don't think that's good enough." Sometimes the price will lower. Sometimes other things will get added in, which, if you can get other things added in, that also can be a great ploy in the negotiations. And then the caution he gave you is watching out for the good guy, bad guy technique. I hate the good guy, bad guy technique. I hate when you're at a car dealership and they say, "Oh, well, let me go talk to my manager." And then they go away for a while and then they come back and, "Oh man, I really fought for you, but he's sticking pretty tight." Don't let them pull that junk. You want to talk to the person that can do the deal. So tell them, if I need to make an appointment with them, I will make an appointment, but I'm not going to play this game where you are the go-between, the runner. I want to talk to the guy that can make a deal. So if you can't make a deal, get me in front of the person that will. And if I need to make an appointment, that's fine. I'll make an appointment and I'll come back. They don't want you to come back. They know once you walk out that door, chances are you won't be back. So force their hand. I want to talk to the person that can make the deal. Then, and only then, will you sign on the bottom line and make a deal. Car dealerships are notorious for this good guy, bad guy technique. Don't let them do it. Make sure you're talking to the person that can actually do the deal, because that's where you will end up with your best deal. So, some important negotiating tips, and again, watch what's happening economically. So, hope you're having a marvelous Monday. Sure do miss you guys. Remember, on Tuesdays, I have an online Google Meet at 9:30. So jump on in if I can help you with anything. Or if you just want to say hi. I'd love to see your happy faces. So take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you later.